Hello, my name is Bambi Harris. I'm here to share another writing tip with you. Today we are going to talk about bringing characters to life. Now there's many ways you can do that. I'm sure that I'll elaborate in various tips along the way. I'm just giving you the very base level ideas to begin with. So if you want to ask questions along the way, I will answer them as we go. But this is just one of many things that you can do to bring characters to life. So I found this to be very important, both for readers, writers, even people who are making movies or anything like that. The thing is, you want to make your characters believable. And believability, as I've said before, is very important in a book. It doesn't matter if it's fiction or non-fiction or anything like that. If you don't convey something that seems plausible or feasible, then people are going to go, I don't believe that. That doesn't jive with me, and that will make them put the book down. So what can you do to make a character more believable? You have to think like a person. So instead of thinking like a character, think of you. Start with you, start with people around you. There are a lot of people around you who are like characters. You might say, oh, he's a real character. There's some people who have more energy and have very specific characteristics that really stand out in their character. Like you might say, well, gee, that guy, oh, he's very hard of hearing and he makes jokes all the time and everyone knows him for it. He's notorious for it. So he's a character. But let's say his name is Joe. Joe can be like that. He's very, very chatty. He doesn't hear anything that anyone says. He makes funny remarks about people. But Joe also has different sides to him, and that's important to address when you're writing a character. Don't make Joe a flat one-dimensional character, because no one is like that in real life. Even someone like Joe, who stands out being one way in particular. Joe does go home and he doesn't necessarily talk to his wife very loudly or make remarks about her. He has his own thing. He has his family time. He goes to barbecues. He has a life as an artist on the side. He does this and that. The thing is, you make every character three-dimensional or multi-dimensional, then people will believe you about them. Now, here's where I want to address, let's say a villain. I don't like to use the word villain too much because that's a very superhero word and that's very extreme. But say we're choosing someone in our book, we're saying this person's the bad guy. Okay, well, let's say the bad guy's name is Nathan. Okay, now Nathan is really just he's a psychopath. He's evil. He hates everybody. He doesn't really care about anyone but himself. He is violent. He's prone to lashing out. And let's say in this book, he kills people. Okay, maybe he kills people for sexual reasons, or maybe he just does it because he's a thug. But no matter what, if you look in the history of psychopathic killers, they still have some dimensions to them, and it's good to work that in. And that will make you better as a writer to really concentrate on just the nuances. And I say nuances because you don't want to go extreme. A psychopath doesn't have an extreme turnaround where the other side of them is very nurturing. That's not usually normal. But you want to give them just a subtle hint of reality. You want to be able to look at them going, gee, if only they worked on that a bit more, they could become a bit more humane. But they probably won't. But let's just say Nathan, if that's our villain, he has a thing for birds. Maybe he really likes birds, of all things. Maybe there was something about this one bird that he decided not to kill in his youth, and he just has an attachment to them, so he is very tender with them. Now, it doesn't mean he's completely bonding with them, but maybe there's just little flickers of like, well, that's very interesting. Why would he be like that? Does that mean he's not completely insane or completely evil? But it doesn't counteract all the evil he's done. It just brings him to life, so he fills out to be a realistic person. And you can do that with good people too. So say if there's Nancy, who goes to church, and she does lovely things, and she's very charitable, and she makes meals for the elderly and takes them around, and you know, everyone has lots of nice things to say about Nancy. But maybe she takes from the charity jar, or maybe she steals from the food bank, or you know, maybe she has it out for some lady named Martha, and you know, she's jealous of Martha because Martha is beautiful and everyone likes her at church, so she says lots of mean things about Martha to try and get people to dislike her. So that is a very realistic person. It's someone who is mostly good, but because of certain insecurities along the way, maybe her mother didn't love her enough, or maybe she had a husband that divorced her, or someone who didn't pay enough attention to her, she feels the need to make people dislike the person she's jealous of, so she can attract more you know, kindness to her, at least in her philosophy, which is a very realistic thing for a person to do, especially if they're insecure or hurting or, you know, unsure of themselves. But Nancy is generally good, and in that way we're fleshing out very realistic ideas for these people. The other thing is, apart from that, apart from giving them multiple dimensions in good and bad and different shades of that, the other thing is to give them, I know we've talking about, I can speak English. I know we've talked about history and things like that, but don't just give a history to your characters or an appearance and different nuances to their good and bad levels. But the other thing is to talk about habits. If someone has a limp, an old injury, maybe they go quiet in conversations on certain topics because of something that's happened to them when they were younger. You're going, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine delving into that. But you'll be surprised as you write your characters along the way how things like this just come up, and as you're writing, I've said this before, write it down. This character Joe, he likes a bird. Write that down, because you're going to want to bring that up later. You're going to want that as part of his history. So you'll find out as you're writing more about your characters. You're not going to write down 100% of everything in the beginning. You're going to learn about them along the way, just like a reader would. And you'll find that's part of the process. So just bring them to life with the way they behave around certain topics or around certain people, you know, how they're good and bad, what makes them run, what drives them to do certain things, what is their goals, what is their hopes. All of these things will be fleshed out in your books, and it will make it more believable, and people will want to know your characters better. So I hope that helps today. Please click the red subscribe button, and the bell next to it is a notification button, which will mean if you click that, you'll be notified when I put other videos out. If you have questions for future videos, please ask. Please be gentle. I'm just offering advice. You can give or take, but I hope it helps you. I wish you well. Thank you.